Temperatures are expected to top 30 degrees today, and the humidex will make it feel much hotter, closer to 40. The heat records are far outpacing cool records across the globe so far this year as Europe and the United States brace again for dangerous heat waves.
So for more on the record-breaking heat here and around the world, we're joined right now by Dave Phillips, a senior climatologist for Environment Canada. Dave, thanks for joining us this afternoon. I mean, no matter, it seems, where you look in the globe, specifically in the western part of the planet, we are boiling and baking under the heat of the sun here. What do you make of let's start in Europe and just talk about the severe conditions they're dealing with over there. I mean, in the UK, they're getting close to 40 degrees without the humidity.
That's right, Nick. I mean, this is unreal. I mean, actually, I saw about a half hour ago, it got up to 40.2 at London Heathrow. And I never thought I'd be alive to see a 40-degree temperature in the UK. I remember when it got to 30 degrees, and that was rare, unprecedented. We thought, oh my gosh, that's incredible. And that was maybe 15 years ago. And here we are now at 40 degrees. I mean, it is just incredible. And we've seen it across Europe. This is a heat dome coming, hot air coming from North Africa, and it's arriving in Europe. It's slowing down, and it's spreading that heat. It's I guess you'd call it a dry heat, but nevertheless, it is hot. And people are just not used to it. I mean, they just are not in the kind of buildings they have. They don't have the air conditioning and fans. It is clearly taking its toll and affecting all life for people in Europe.
And Dave, staying with the heat, we are under a heat warning here in the GTA today, but looking into the future, you're forecasting that this summer will be warmer than normal. I mean, we're really just experiencing the start of the warmth here.
That's right, Jennifer. I think we've seen already in Toronto, we've had, I believe, 8 days where the temperature's been above 30. About 2 years ago, we had 21 of those suckers by this time. So we've been kind of slowed down. We've had actually a comfortable, almost room temperature kind of summer so far. It's been a little dry, but nevertheless, it's been weather has been good where you haven't had your air conditioner on at every moment. That's about to change, Jennifer, because we see this week, what's different about this heat coming up this week than the previous is they were 1 or 2 days. And, you know, even people who are taxed by heat, they can stand 1 day or 1 night. But when you get 5 days where the temperature is above 30 degrees or elevated in the 29s or 28, humidex values into the 40s, then boy, people begin to suffer morning, noon, and night. You can't escape it. And it gets progressively worse. It's harder on the body to rebuild back every day. So I think this is clearly where we're going to feel it. But also, Jennifer, as you point out, we have said that, hey, this is the halfway point. These are the dog days of summer, usually a month after the longest day. And this is the kind of pattern character of the summer we see going forward. All our models, the American models, are saying, hey, it looks like the end of July and August will be warmer than the first half.
Okay, so more warm weather on the way, Dave. You know, let's talk about when you talk about people and more specifically policymakers in a globe now, in a world now where we're shattering mainly heat extreme records, surely some cool records, but also the heat records are being shattered. What do you think they need to focus on most? Is it just cutting down on pollution and carbon? I mean, what's the remedy here?
Well, I think it really is, Nick. It involves everything. I mean, we need to cut back on our fossil fuels. Hey, that's a part solution. But I think that's almost given up on that. We don't see great progress being made there. So I think the issue is we need to adapt. We need to wake up to the fact that our climate is warming and it's getting more extreme, and particularly in the heat. The heat is something that we see everywhere, and there's clear evidence, scientific evidence, to say that heat would not have been so hard or as intense and as long-lasting and as early and as later if it hadn't been for stuff coming out of our tailpipes and smokestacks. So I think the kind of things that we need to do is that we need to, especially in the cities, to grab hold of our cities, to win it back. More green space, more trees. We need to have less asphalt and building materials and those kinds of things. And so more people live in cities, but they're feeling the heat and the humidity more. And so I think we need to pay attention to the fact that climate has changed. Now we need to change and do things differently in terms of building our cities and making them more people friendly and more weatherproof.
Right.
Yeah. And Dave, staying with the heat issue and also climate change, right now our government is really focused on the pandemic and economic recovery. And once again, the issue of the climate gets kind of sidelined. I'm curious, if climate change continues to worsen, we keep seeing these extreme weather events and disasters, could it eventually change seasons as we know it? Could we suddenly experience a summer that goes into, let's say, late September or October? What's kind of the future prediction for how climate change is going to affect seasons globally?
Well, I think, Jennifer, we'll always be a country of 4 seasons. It's just that how long will they be? I mean, winter is typically what we're known about, the land of ice and cold. And so we clearly see warming making shorter winters, but not necessarily no snow or no ice. We'll see that. But I think it's excruciating. It's making storms stormier. It's making droughts droughtier. It's making heat waves longer and earlier and later. And I think those are the kinds of changes. So what's interesting, guys, it's not that, if I was talking about typhoons in Toronto or sandstorms in Surrey or monsoons in Montreal, we'd say, oh, the world's upside down. This is weather that's changing. This is our grandparents' weather, except that it's more intense, more frequent, longer lasting, out of season, out of place. And so this is what's changed. The statistics of the weather have changed, and we've just not coped and sort of built up or maintained the kind of preparation that we do. So I think that nature's giving us a sign. They're telling us, hey, it's what it is, and we better do something about it, or it's going to get far worse.
Yeah, more intense and also dangerous for people. Dave Phillips, Senior Climatologist for Environment Canada. Always appreciate your time and analysis. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.